You're listening to a download from the outdoorstation.co.uk. Number 463.
Hello and welcome back to this podcast on the Outdoors Station, and this one will be the last for a few weeks as I'm going for a walk. Firstly, I'm going up to Skye to do the 85-mile Skye Trail from south north, and then straight into the 200-mile TGO Challenge, walking from the west coast of Scotland on Shield Bridge through to Montrose, over some of the lumpy bits, and meeting 300 various other challenges, possibly en route. Now, as we know, spring of 2018 has been late this year, and as I record this, we are all still getting above average rainfall, occasional snow on high ground, and it's much colder than normal for this time of year. So my enthusiasm for the next few weeks has been dampened somewhat. However, Scotland can give you 4 seasons in one day, so I'll just have to prepare for the worst and hope for the best. It also provides me and you with stacks of podcast and video material, so you can expect some good trail stories on my return. And talking of trails, we are very fortunate in the UK to have so many established trails of varying lengths. They're dotted all over the place. Out in the water around the Channel Islands Way, to the southwest coastal path around Cornwall and Devon, right up to the Cape Wrath Trail at the top west of Scotland. In between, we have ways and trails across, well, the south of the UK, the Midlands, Wales, the Pennines, Norfolk Coast, Cleveland, Hadrian's Wall, West Highland Way, Southern Upland Way, the Great Glen Way, to name but a few. Then there's the Welsh Dragon Walk, the only way or trail in the world to circumnavigate an entire country. And finally, you have Land's End to John O'Groats, which isn't quite a trail as such, but it's very popular all the same. So let's say you've done some of these UK trails and want something a little different. A trail that still offers remote countryside, a few mountains and a reasonable challenge, a distance of some 500 plus miles, and maybe a warm welcome as you pass through the villages and towns. A trail mix of solitude and culture as and when you need it. But somewhere you can speak the lingo that isn't too expensive or time-consuming to get there and back. Where do you look or go next? Well, since November 2017, the answer is Ireland. There's a new guide just published entitled The Island Way, which has now linked up a series of ways and paths to create one continuous route from Cork in the south to Antrim in the north. A total of 900 kilometres or 562 miles through some of the most intriguing history, colourful landscape and culture Ireland has to offer. Written by Caroline Allen, it was inspired when she undertook her first long-distance trail in 2013.
I was inspired to write the guidebook for the Ireland Way in 2013 when I did the Camino de Santiago. About 2 weeks into the hike, I turned to the person I was hiking with and I said, "This is so amazing. Ireland needs one. There's nothing like it in Ireland. You know, just a long distance hike. I think it's just such an amazing way to explore a country and even to explore yourself. You know, it's a very personal journey and adventure, and there's just nothing like it in Ireland. So there's a couple of trails in Ireland that I decided I figured I could join them up and take the trail the full length of Ireland. And that's how the Ireland Way came about.
And how did you feel yourself in doing the Camino? Did you find it quite a spiritual adventure, or was it more a physical challenge for yourself?
I think it was a bit of everything, mental, spiritual, physical. It was so much more than I expected. And it was just an amazing experience.
Was it the first time you'd done a long-distance walk as such?
Yeah, I had never done any hiking before in my life. And a couple of people told me about the Camino, and I just felt like, oh God, this is something I have to do. So I booked the flights for like a month later, and I just went over. I didn't do any research, no training, didn't know what to expect. And it was very challenging because I hadn't prepared, but it was just so amazing. It's something I'll always remember.
I think that's a lovely way to approach something like this, to actually go with your eyes completely wide open to whatever happens to you. So just before we come on to the Island Way, I'd like you to tell the listeners what you discovered about yourself, or the practical things of actually starting a long distance walk with no preparation.
Well, I suppose I was at a point in my life where I didn't know what to do next. I wanted to change career and I didn't have a clue what to do. So I did the Camino as, I suppose, a time out, an adventure, something different out of my comfort zone. Yeah, just to maybe try and have time out and figure out what to do next.
So did you literally just get from town to town and look for accommodation, or the Camino type accommodation and the hostels as you went?
I did get the guidebook, but I didn't read it or do any preparation. I didn't look up anything on the internet. I didn't want to see pictures or, there's the movie called The Way. I didn't look that up because I wanted everything to be a surprise.
And okay, and was it?
Yes, it was. Like all the scenery, all the the different towns along the way. I didn't do any research, so everything was just an adventure. Every day was a new adventure.
I'd just like to remind you, we are talking about your guidebook here to the Island Way, just in case we're getting a bit confused.
Yes, I was.
So if you buy the book, don't read it. Right, okay.
Okay.
So let's come on to the Island Way then. As I can understand it, I'm not very good at the pronunciation, so I won't attempt some of them, but were these walks and trails already there and you've just sort of linked them up, or have you sort of generated some new trails here?
No, they're all existing or currently under construction. So I'm not inventing any of them. There's the first stages 1 to 12. They're all individual sections in each of the counties, but joined together, they're called the Beara-Breffni Way. And then in Northern Ireland, it's the Ulster Way. So it's the Beara-Breffni Way joined onto the Ulster Way.
Excellent. What is the best way of approaching this? Before we start talking about the way itself, is it best to go south to north or north to south, do you think?
I like south to north because, similar to the Camino de Santiago, you have the mountain at the start, and it's the first day is just the toughest. It's the most challenging. And it's like that on the Ireland Way. The first 4 days, actually, you're going over mountains, and they're the most challenging. And then you have a lot of flat land or hilly land in the middle. And then at the end, you have 4 days along the coastline, and it's nice and relaxing. I think it's just a lovely way to finish the hike.
Lovely. So to give people just a bit of an overview about the actual distance and the amount of time that they might need to consider it, and then we'll actually start talking about how to get to the start point, etc.
Yeah. But the entire trail altogether it's around 940 kilometres, and it takes around 40 days. A couple of guys did it recently in 36 days. So it's going to depend on each person and their level of fitness and how much they cover each day.
And were they sort of attempting to do it as fast as possible, or were they taking their time and enjoying everything Ireland can offer?
They were trying to do it as fast as possible. Yeah, they did it in October, November, so it was kind of autumn, winter. It was quite cold. It was raining. It was snowing at one stage of their hike, so they were trying to get through it as fast as possible and not take too many rest days.
So looking on the positive side, to make the most of this particular way and journey, I presume the best time to start would be, really springtime, about now, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. April, May, June, July, August would be the warmest weather, the least rain.
Ireland doesn't have rain, does it?
In every season, yes, but less rain during spring and summer. And I think that's the most enjoyable and, Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so let's be practical now. If people are coming to you that aren't flying straight into Ireland, they'll probably be coming from Wales, from the coast there. Tell me about the practicalities of getting to the start point.
If you, I suppose from Wales, you'd go over to Dublin, take the boat or fly over. And then it is a train journey down from Dublin down to Cork City. And then from Cork City, it's a 2.5-hour bus right over to the west of County Cork.
So is that doable in a day, or is that half a day?
From Dublin, it's doable in a day. The trains are very regular from Dublin to Cork, but the bus going from Cork out to the west of Cork, there's only about 2 or 3 buses per day, depending on if it's a weekday or weekend. So you'd have to time your travel around that, or else you might need to stay overnight in Cork City.
This podcast is brought to you by backpackinglight.co.uk, offering a select range of products for the lightweight outdoors enthusiast. See the full range, along with a wealth of free outdoor hints, tips and videos at backpackinglight.co.uk.
Lovely. Okay, so if somebody's made their way down there, obviously the way as you put it together and the book is all fairly new. We're just talking about end of 2017, beginning of 2018, as you're getting to promote this now. As people partake of this walk or start, are the local facilities becoming aware of it as a popular hike? And, are there plenty of services for people to consider camping and that sort of thing along the whole stage, really?
The part of the trail that's in Ireland, in the south, the Beara Breffni Way, it's actually been under construction for about 10 years. So the sections in some of the counties have been well established for years, and in some it's very new, and in 2 sections it's actually still not complete. So in some sections, the locals are very aware of the trail and they offer services, and there's hostels and plenty of accommodation. But in the sections that are more new, there aren't really as many facilities. For camping, there's only about 5 camping sites along the entire trail. But if you arrive at a village and you want to camp somewhere, just ask a local. They'll direct you to a field, or they'll give you their garden or something. They will help you. They'll send you in the right direction. So it's going to be wild camping.
Indeed. Well, and that was going to be my next question, really. That wild camping has a certain following, and certainly if people are backpacking generally, most of the time they would probably prefer to camp and chill out if possible. So what is the attitude to wild camping generally if you don't see anybody, if you're not passing through a village and have somebody to ask?
Yeah, wild camping is absolutely fine. Obviously, tidy up after yourself, take your litter and that. But be aware that most of the land is private. So, if you want to camp in a field and you can see the house nearby, it's probably the farmer there that owns it. So, don't be afraid to knock on the door and ask. But obviously, if you're in the mountains and there's no houses nearby, then it's absolutely fine.
Fantastic. Well, that's probably put a lot of people's mind at rest. Thank you. Now, the walk itself, have you undertaken the complete length yourself?
I have, yeah.
And, was it as spiritual as the Camino was for you?
Well, I was doing research for the book and taking photographs, so I was doing it a bit at a time. I didn't do it all in one go, but it is something I would love to do one day when I can. I'm actually redoing the trail a second time now. To get more information and more details on the trail, anything that I might be missing. I would love to do the trail all in one go myself one day, but for now I'm still doing it in parts just for research.
Looking at the website, which is the islandway.ie, There's obviously stories of people, as you say, that have done it recently. The two brothers you mentioned from Austria doing it in 36 days. I'm just looking at the website now. But you've gone to great detail with things like the GPS mapping, which is quite a good idea, so that people know what they're facing and the scale of the days. Certainly, as I can say, the first 2 or 3 days are going to be fun. And I presume that due to sort of the location of the route itself in some places, is it easy enough every 2 or 3 days to pick up supplies, food and that sort of thing if you're obviously camping and keeping it simple along the way?
Yeah, definitely. The towns vary in distance, between each of them. It might be 5 kilometres, it might be 30 kilometres, but there are plenty of places. Yeah, I'd say the maximum distance between towns is around 35 kilometres or so. But there is enough places to pick up food. Every village has a small shop.
Lovely.
So there's always places to stock up.
Excellent. And I noticed you've got a passport as well. Has that actually now been instigated, the Ireland Way passport?
With every book purchased, I'm giving away a free passport for now because the stamps aren't all in place yet. I think yesterday there was a launch of their Breffni Way stamps in the Northern Ireland. I don't know if there's stamps in place there yet. So I have written on the website that stamps may not be available until maybe 2019. So that's why I'm giving away the passports for free for now. So there may not be stamps, but there will be, from next month, there will be certificates available at the end of the trail, both in the north and the south.
Well, I know there will be a lot of listeners very keen to hear the details of this particular trail. Obviously, a new trail is always something to be celebrated and extremely exciting. And the fact that it covers the 14 counties and goes through all the stages of outdoor pleasures, such as bogland, coast and rivers and lakes, along with the Irish culture and warm hospitality, I'm sure will be extremely popular. So you're talking to the converted audience. This is the audience that you really want to be doing this walk. So let's look at a couple of other aspects. If somebody wanted to do this in stages, because obviously not everybody has 40 days or more to free time to do something like this, how can they break it down into sort of a week at a time? Is there certain sections which are easy to get to and from certain places as on the trail?
Yeah, say on the map that's in the back of the book or on the passport. Some of the towns I have in bigger text, bigger font size. Those towns are the bigger ones. They might be much easier to get to. Whereas some of the ones that are in a smaller font size, you might need to get a taxi to them. They might not even have a local bus service.
And is it expensive to get around from there to back to Dublin, I suppose?
From the trail back to Dublin, it depends where you're leaving the trail. You might need to say if you're in a small town, you might need to get a taxi to one of the bigger towns. From there, you may need to get a bus, or a couple of the towns will have a train station, but mostly it's going to be a bus that you get to Dublin. And it could be 1 or 2 or even 3 buses, depending on where you are along the trail.
Okay, so by the sounds of it, you need to allow yourself perhaps 2 or 3 days to get from the trail back to back to Dublin or the UK, I suppose, if you're going that way.
From the trail to Dublin, anywhere on the trail to Dublin can definitely do it in 1 day. But yeah, you may need to stay overnight in Dublin then before heading back to Wales. Lovely.
Now, again, referring to the website, which I'm just flipping through as we're talking now, some lovely pictures and certainly very attractive and appealing sort of countryside that I'm sure many people will love to get their hands on. I particularly like some of the names, like the Suck Valley Way. I presume that's pretty wet and boggy, but
it's named after the River Suck, and yeah, it's very boggy on that section, definitely.
But I noticed you've got various videos on the site as well. Are these videos that you've taken yourself, or are they videos associated with each particular walk that somebody else has produced?
There's a couple who are walking every national waymarked trail in Ireland. They go by the name Tough Souls, and they're doing a video of each section that they do. Now, the trails they're doing are all over Ireland, but of course they're going to be doing sections of the Ireland Way as well. So that's where those videos are from.
The videos Caroline refers to are produced by Carl and Ellie, who have set themselves the challenge of walking some 4,000 kilometres around all of Ireland's trails. Here's an excerpt from one of their videos from the Cavan Way, which forms part of the Island Way. Links to them and their videos can be found over on the Outdoor Station podcast page.
Right. Yeah. You seem heavy on your bags.
We've been walking for 6 weeks now.
Aye,
so
6 weeks.
Yeah, a lot of stuff with us. Yeah.
Jeez, 6 weeks is a long time.
You know,
Gonna keep going for another couple of months.
Yeah.
While the weather is good, you're gonna try and walk all around Ireland.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
See all of it.
Yeah, the Cavan Way, and then there's so like the Cavan Way, there's 40 more.
40 more.
More
Yeah.
trails like this one. Yeah. So we met a nice farmer. He was friendly. He knew the way, which was cool. I wonder if this is his land. So, if so, thank you, unnamed farmer, with an extremely strong accent. Yeah, it's just encouraging when people see us, I suppose, and don't judge, don't kind of have any weird notions of camping or of walking or anything. It's just like, oh, that's great, nice, sounds fun. Instead of like, just wouldn't be camping on my land, would you? That kind of a thing. Like, I don't know. Yeah, it's just nice. We're in Dara. This is the start of the Cavan Way, which is actually, it's a 22 kilometre or 26 kilometre, depending on which sign you read, way. It looks like it's going to go through some really incredible landscape, such as the Cavan Burn, which I'd never heard of before, the Marble Arch Caves, and the Shannon Pot, which is the source of the Shannon. It's only a short trail. I think we're going to make it a really nice, easy walk today. Kind of just do like 12 or 15 kilometres, camp somewhere, and then do the last 12 or 15 kilometres. So I'm excited, looking forward to it.
So we are almost at the end of map 1, and this is a 2-map trail. It's been super nice. We've had a large portion of roads, of course. This is a road heavy trail statistically, but they are just little moraines going through the middle of nowhere. So it's been really nice. We were planning on doing this over 2 days, just because we started late today and it's supposed to be so pretty in the Cavan Burn and the Shannon Pot that we didn't want to rush through it. But who knows where we'll get to now, I guess.
Well, this is the source of the River Shannon. It's the longest river in the UK and Ireland. Probably the most important river in Ireland. So it kind of looks as though this comes up from nowhere. But the source is actually kind of underground the whole way from... There's a mountain behind here and this entire cave system. But I guess this is the above ground source of the Shannon. This isn't the first time we've met the Shannon. We've met it along this trail, along the Miners Way, and also the Royal Canal, our very first trail, ends at the Shannon, where it meets the canal. So I guess we're friends with the Shannon at this point. It's day 2 of the Cavan Way. We camped in this forest over there. It's raining on us. There weren't as many midges, which is good. Weren't as many midges as it was on the Miners Way when we camped on Corrie Mountain, so that's good. This is meant to be the Cavan Burn, or I think we're coming into the Cavan Burn, so we'll see what that looks like. I think it was maybe oversold to me a little bit because I've never been to the Burn either, and that's meant to be all amazing and magical, so we should see what this looks like. But yeah. This tomb behind me, this wedge tomb, is apparently the grave of a giant who, in trying to impress a girl, tried to jump over a gorge backwards. We're going to see the gorge in a few minutes. And this is apparently where he totally failed and then died. So yeah, I guess that's interesting. This whole area seems to be completely steeped in folklore and legend, and there's about 50 tombs in like the space of 10 kilometers squared. This is the Giant's Leap. I guess he tried to jump from this side to this side backwards, which, I mean, I know I could do it, but obviously he was kind of weak.
So this is the Cavan Way sign in Blackline, so it's the other end. Ta-da! It's been a great trail. We just came down out of the kind of the Burn Mountain area, and now we're going to go find some food, or coffee, or cold drink.
The Outdoor Station is your one-stop shop for audio and video entertainment for the self-powered traveller. You can find us online, on internet radio, on smartphones, on smart TVs, on YouTube, on Apple TV, on Now TV and on Facebook. You can also stream us live via the iTunes app or TuneIn radio app. The list is continually expanding, and for full details of how to subscribe, download or stream and enjoy our massive free library, please visit theoutdoorstation.co.uk.
Now, getting towards the end there, I see that, as you say, you've got 2 or 3 days very pleasant walking, if you catch the weather right, I guess, along the causeway and the coast. How easy is it to get from, I suppose from there they go to Belfast, wouldn't they, to get back to the UK?
Yeah, from the end of the trail at Ballycastle, you can take a bus direct to Belfast. And yeah, you could fly home from Belfast, actually.
So in some respects, people doing it the other way from north to south, that might be the easiest way to start for them, wouldn't it, to go from Belfast?
Yeah, it could. Yeah, definitely.
So you've done the sections, although you haven't done it in one big foul swoop. So what's your favourite area?
My favourite is the start of the trail. I just love the mountains, and there's some forests there as well. Yeah, it's just I suppose the feeling of accomplishment you get after climbing a mountain, enjoying the views from the top, and at the end of the day you're exhausted and you just feel good that you did a really good a good hike that day. You know?
Good, yeah. And are there plenty of rural pubs that people will find along the way?
There are plenty of pubs, absolutely. Lots of places to get a pint or a Guinness at the end of the day.
I was going to say, it's the one thing in the UK that's happening all the time is all the rural pubs are starting to close down, you see. So it would be an awful thing for that to happen in Ireland.
There is no shortage of rural pubs in Ireland. There's nothing to worry about there.
Okay, so with the people that are listening to this then, I'm sure you're as interested in doing this as I am. I think it would be a lovely alternative to some of the longer trails elsewhere, and obviously the Irish hospitality is something to be treasured, I'm sure. For those people who want to know more, obviously we'll give them the link to the islandway.ie, which is the main website, and that's where I presume they can get the actual book from?
Yeah, you can get the book from the website, theirelandway.ie/shop. And you can purchase the book there.
And how much is the book?
The book is €15, or you can get the ebook for €12.
So people who are overseas, perhaps Americans fond of Ireland, will be keen to get the digital version, so they can just download that and start anticipating their long summer's break.
Absolutely, yeah.
Looking at the route of the trail, I'm sure it must pass through really important places with historical references for the history of Ireland. Is there plenty for people to see?
Yeah, absolutely. There is a number of ancient megalithic sites. Some of them are thousands of years old. They're stone tombs, and also there's plenty of castles along the trail as well. So each has its own history and story around it.
And have you expanded on all those stories in the book, or is there somewhere else for people to look for more information on that?
The book currently has just a small bit of information on each of them, but that's something I hope to expand on future editions.
Well, I think you've pretty well whetted the appetite for people to consider looking at the Island Way. I think it sounds like a lovely idea, 40 days walking through the best Ireland has to offer. So apart from the website, which is theislandway.ie, where else can people find out more about you?
We have a Facebook page. It's facebook.com/The Ireland Way. And also there's a group there. So if you have any questions or want to ask people anything about the trail, their experience, or any questions about Ireland, you can chat to people on the Facebook group page. And also we have Instagram, and there's some photographs going up there.
And I see you're on Twitter as well, and TripAdvisor, I notice, and Pinterest. So there's lots of ways for people to find out more and ask any questions. You've mentioned on the website a few people that have done the trip. Do you want to hear from people and their experiences of doing the Island Way?
Yeah, absolutely. You can join the Facebook group page and post your photographs there. That would be fantastic. Or they could email me their photographs and I'd love to share them on the website. Or if you're fundraising for a charity or something, you can just send me an email and I'll gladly share your fundraiser links or anything like that on the website and on our social media.
Doesn't the Island Way sound inviting? As this trail is fairly new, the appeal to get lost in Ireland for 40 days and 40 nights is immense. As mentioned, do check out, if you haven't already, the website theislandway.ie and read some of the trail stories and view several of the videos that you can find there. I can imagine this trail would also appeal greatly to our American listeners, so please buy the guide, and if you have any further questions, do contact Caroline via the website or Facebook group. And again, all the links are over on their website and the Outdoor Station website as well. Well, I'm not sure when I'll do it, but I've already spoken with some hiking buddies and we are all up for it. So I may see you along the Island Way. I'll be back in a few weeks, so until then, bye for now.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. To hear or see more from our extensive free library, please visit theoutdoorstation.co.uk.